I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
That I will faithfully execute.
that I will faithfully execute
The office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States
And will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
MSM likes to act like they dictate reality. The truth is, they're corporate whores of fake news who've been caught lying to the American people and the people of the world thousands and thousands of times. So when Conway comes out and says, oh, well, we have our alternative facts, and the media runs wild with that, a better term would be we're in the real reality and you're living in a false reality where Iraq has WMDs, where Obamacare is free, where we didn't build our businesses. Oh, and I didn't forget the best one, where Trump didn't have a crowd of any size. Now, what's crazy about this is I was flying out of D.C. on Saturday, and I heard women that were there celebrating, holding up their iPhones and droids, saying, look, Trump didn't have a big audience yesterday. He couldn't even fill 1/10 of the mall in front of the Capitol. And I was thinking to myself, man, that's funny. It took me 3 hours to get in. A third of the people couldn't get in. It was totally jam-packed. First time they put a big fence up around it. And then I get home. Saturday night, it's all over the news. Dun, 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 CNN. Look at 2009 for Obama. Look at Trump. And I watched the footage on CNN and on PBS and a lot of others. It was clearly edited where they show the gates open, a little bit comes in, and to make it look like the crowd goes out, they cut, and you see the sky and everything change, and then it shows them going out. I mean, it didn't matter. I was there and saw all the way back to the monument, then totally packed full of people, and then I went and found photos past the monument with even more people in overflow, and then other photos of people trying to get in who couldn't get in because the fascistic left, George Soros, Islamicist-controlled crazies were beating people up outside and blocking them from getting in. They organized it for months. They admitted they were doing it, but then the media said that was a conspiracy theory too. When they tried to block people coming in, they claimed that I and others had assaulted them and had even been arrested. They then showed a photo of the police escorting me away from communists that attacked me at the RNC in July of 2016. I mean, folks, there's so much fake news. My head is starting to spin. And I think that's the tactic. In fact, I've seen some white papers where they admit that, is to put out so many conflicting disinformation points, people just give up because it's too hard to decipher. But I'm here to tell you, we're going to show you the images, the video, you name it right now, as we've been showing you. But all of you saw television and saw them pull back and show the giant mall full of people. Whether it was the biggest or the second biggest, that's up for debate. It doesn't matter. Donald Trump has been elected the 45th president of the U.S. Donald Trump has already delivered on repealing the unconstitutional TPP and getting Ford and Chrysler and Carrier and Japanese companies, you name it, to come back. The stock market's already gone up over $1 trillion in just a few months when he was president-elect. But I forgot he's the guy that got rid of the bust of Martin Luther King. Just day one, he walked in, he went, screw you, and threw it out the window. These are the same people that lied about Hillary's going to win by 20 points when the internal polls showed Trump winning by big margins. And we told you about that. Obamacare, he signed the executive order to begin the repeal in the forced individual mandate. His defense secretary began bombing ISIS, as Trump promised to do, to kick him out of Syria day one. The corporatists that own the mainstream media that are putting out these lies after the fact don't even coordinate and maybe tell the camera boom operators that were there live, don't back up and show miles and miles of people. No. In fact, they don't even coordinate and say, oh, CNN, don't take giant megapixel photos where you can zoom in on the crowd and even find me, and then zoom back miles, and then even behind the monument, there's overflow people. No. They believe they control reality and are history's actors, like Karl Rove said, to such an extent that they had Gibbs, Obama's press secretary, come out and say there is no drone program years after it was admitted to even exist.
When I went through the process of becoming press secretary, one of the first things they told me was, you're not even to acknowledge the drone program. You're not even to discuss that it exists. Wow. And so I would get a question like that, and literally I couldn't tell you what Major asked, because once I figured out it was about the drone program, I realized I'm not supposed to talk about it. But here's what's inherently crazy about that proposition. You're being asked a question based on reporting of a program that exists.
Right.
So you're the official government spokesperson acting as if the entire program, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
If you didn't think the lies couldn't get more huge or more obvious, this is it. And then they complain about President Trump, the guy they said could never be president, would never be president, getting up his first day in office and saying, I was watching the news and they showed a photo from 8:20 in the morning or 8:30 in the morning when people were just being let in and said this was a small crowd when it wasn't. They go, oh, quit bitching, narcissist. Don't challenge us on our lies. They even come out and say, Trump's becoming like the communist Chinese, criticizing the media. No, they kill and execute people that disagree with them, and our own media is asking China to come in at Davos and prop up the world government and to censor our news. So again, everything they say is an inverted, giant lie. And I've got to ask myself, is this their Waterloo? Is this finally a bridge too far? Part of me doesn't even want it to stop. This is so ridiculous, it's becoming a sport or like entertainment. Watching the biggest liars in the universe tell those of us that are changing the world and on the cutting edge of the truth, rallying humanity around prosperity and brotherly and sisterly love, that we're Russian agents. I mean, it's like Maxine Waters a few weeks ago saying, drain the swamp came from the Ruskies. So did Crooked Hillary. That's right, because we never thought of that. You see, we don't have brains. We're Americans. Only Putin can think.
If we discover that Donald Trump or his advocates played a role in helping to devise strategy, if they're the ones who came up with Crooked Hillary, if they're the ones who came up with she's ill, something's wrong with her energy, and the way that he basically, described her in the campaign, I think that is something that would put the question squarely on the table whether or not he should be impeached.
It's like they're trying to discredit themselves or something. But then I realize their voters and their supporters do not care. They just want to be reaffirmed delusionally that they're winners, so they want to be shown that nobody was there. So I'll say this. Okay, you got me. You're right. I wasn't there. In fact, I don't exist. There was no one there to see Trump. And he didn't just repeal TPP that was unelected and criminal that the left hated, rightfully so. He didn't just get Chrysler and Ford to come back. He didn't get Carrier. He didn't get SoftBank to announce they're coming. He didn't get all these big companies to announce they're coming back. He didn't add $1 trillion to the stock market as president-elect. None of this is happening. You're right. In fact, he's not even president. So there you go. And we're all Russian agents. Okay, there you go. You're in charge now. Trump did something really big, though. He didn't say we're just renegotiating TPP because it was totally unconstitutional and done by the executive branch. Because he had the power to do it, he gave up his power and pulled us out of it and gave it back to Congress. You see, Congress has been transferring power to the executive, and now Trump is giving it up and giving it back to the states 4.5 days into his administration. This is unprecedented. But I forgot he's a racist, so we should all support it. Hey, folks, I'm on break right now, and these incredible 2000 lithograph prints came in, and we've already sold out of 500 of them, so thank you for the support. But listen, they're only $19.95. If you buy these in art houses across the country, they're as much as $200 a piece, especially the one of Reagan, because it's the most iconic. We're going to be carrying these soon, we hope, but again, he has to produce a limited edition. Let me show you. You can read all about the artist and more, but he sent this to us months ago. One is signed to me, 11/8/2016. Simply amazing. Right over here is his super famous Reagan photo or drawing. Now, it's just kind of a dark hallway, but you know, you've got to go to the website and see for yourself. But it doesn't do it justice until you see the parchment paper and the print. Nobody has ever sold something of this quality for $9.95. There's only 1,500 of these left. Infowarsstore.com. Thanks for your support.